Press release. Reporter Alan Atkins, Manila correspondent, 11th of September 2001. When first learning of the intended visit by self-styled evangelist and former lecturer David Clark from Fareham, Hampshire, and Gordon Smith from Merley, near Bournemouth, England, to the Philippines, a number of resident foreigners were angry and dismayed. This was not for the fact that the pair wanted to share their experience with prison inmates that was their business. Rather, it was the deeper motive, purportedly attempting to assist in the early release of David Clark's brother Michael Clark from the hellhole that is called New Bilibid Prison, where he'd been sentenced to serve 14 years. The angry resident foreigners, all of whom were involved in fighting to obtain justice for many foreigners falsely convicted in a country where the justice system is decidedly faulty to say the least, believed the visit would be detrimental to their own efforts. German Harry Hoost and Britain Alan Atkins had dispatched angry missives to David Clark stating they could not see what good the mission would achieve. Both believed that it would set the cases of incarcerated foreigners back, as living here in many years they fully understood the Philippine psyche. Vocal criticism by foreigners would lead to the Filipino authorities digging in their heels just to show whose country it really was. David Clark, learning some of the problems and difficulties of unsound criminal convictions in the Philippines, had every right to visit the Philippines and assist his brother Michael, now as he had turned his life around and is back on crime. David Clark, before arriving, did make one concession to local fears. Discussions dissuaded Albert Wilson from returning with him, so one problem was out of the way. David Clark and Gordon Smith duly arrived and met with their Philippine hosts and coordinators to begin a massive program of preaching, not just in Bilibid prison, including the prisoners on death row, but also in various areas within reach of Manila, including the cities that used to host the huge US base, Angeles City and Olongapo City. In these places, they not only preached in various nonconformist churches, but inside the jails. To the amazement of their local critics, they achieved an amazing success, especially in the prisons. Literally, hundreds of prisoners expressed that they wanted to learn more about the gospel and themselves be saved. The religious would say that this is a miracle. To the cynics, analysis tends to indicate just how big a failure the Catholic Church has been in the Philippines. In the Philippines, well over 80% claim to be Catholic. Indeed, most would have been baptized in a Catholic church. Yet, as over 54% drop out in schools in primary, and even those who go to Mass will only listen to the homily, most of them knew very little about Christianity. The fact that two very ordinary men, not wearing the magic vestments of priesthood, relate in simple terms, stories, and the meaning of what is in the Bible, must have a huge impact. For the first time in their lives, they understood what being a Christian really means. What makes it even better is that David Clark readily confesses to them that 30 years previously he was an incarcerated criminal and that he discovered the way after a bad trip on LSD. These men could and did relate to him. He was just one of them once. David's book, Converted on LSD Trip, has just been published, which tells the whole story.